Hey everyone, Daniel, as in Ghost Guy. This week's strange news is a doozy. I just finished recording my podcast. I thought I would just jump over onto the camera and read out this article. I thought about it for a second, like, should I include this in on the podcast or let the podcast stand on its own? And after the podcast went 28 minutes of me telling stories of possession, I was like, okay, got to put this as a separate video. This will only be exclusively on the YouTube page, which I assume you are right here watching now, or maybe off the Ghost Walk site. Either way, welcome. So, strange news segment. A lot of fun for me. Hopefully it's fun for you. Basically, I'm just going to read a news story related to a certain topic. This week it is similar to the podcast, so it was a nice fit into that. And if you've watched these before, if you heard me do strange news, you know I don't read these in advance. So excuse me in advance for any mistakes that I might make while I'm reading it. I want to be surprised in the moment. So that's it. Let's jump right into it. What we have here. Oh, I should have warned you. Thought I would give you a little bit of a start. Demonic possession is real, says psychiatry professor. Now, this is for the Deccan Chronicle. I hope I'm pronouncing that as correct. This is out of India. Professor spent 25 years viewing exorcisms and says fallen angels target the devout and those who meddle with the occult. Almost sounds like right off the bat it's going to be sort of a religious thing. And I assume usually when you have articles in relation to exorcisms, it ends up being a religious thing. So we'll see how far down that road it gets. I am not a religious thinker. I like to approach things from a more scientific and logical point of view. If you do have a chance to listen to the podcast I recorded, I kind of go into that a little bit. You can kind of get an idea of how I explain what possession is. Doesn't have a religious connotation, but I digress. This, of course, if you don't know, is an image from the movie The Exorcist. This is Linda Blair, who so perfectly played Regan, who was possessed by a demon. A lot of the fears of exorcisms and being possessed come from this movie. Dr. Gallagher says demons exhibit extraordinary powers such as personal knowledge and near clairvoyance. It's interesting. A psychiatry professor, Dr. Richard Gallagher, says that he has heard demons speak in ancient Greek, Latin, Chinese, Spanish, and French, and says they're wildly smart and manipulative. The voices and the language come out of people, he says, but they're not actually human. That's similar to the movie. Like, if you look at the movie The Exorcist, the voice that came out of her was kind of like, I think they manipulated it. Maybe it was the special effects of the day, but turned it into sort of like a mix of a little girl's voice and a adult male, or in this case, demonic voice. According to Dr. Gallagher, demonic possession exists, and he has seen it firsthand. Speaking to dailymail.com, well, this might have been a repost. Yeah, never mind. Speaking to dailymail.com, Dr. Gallagher says they are fallen angels. Quote, they're extremely bright. They're much brighter than humans. They've been around for millennia, so they speak all languages. Again, this is getting into the more religious side of things. I would fathom a guess, like we're talking about human knowledge. I'm not sure how that relates to spirits that might possess someone. I guess if you believe in the religious idea that they were demons from another time, or that they were never human, that they never really walked the earth, then maybe they would have that type of knowledge. I'm not sure I would agree with this. Speaking all languages, that's completely different. Oh, just ignore that. Dr. Gallagher is extremely guarded about his own details, saying only that he has a family and siblings. he estimates he treated 25,000 patients over the years. It's an older fellow, I guess. Not one who walked through his door was actually possessed. Instead, according to him, he has seen cases of possession and oppression, and involves demons harassing an individual rather than taking control of them. Interesting word. I'm curious to see what he means. The first case he saw involved a victim of oppression. Here we go. A Hispanic housewife and mother from the American West who was being assailed by demons. Dr. Gallagher reminisces that she and her husband both swore she would be lying in bed, and all of a sudden she would have the feeling of being assaulted by evil spirits, and bruises would appear on her body. I've had heard examples of this. The movie The Entity did it in such an extreme amount. To be physically assaulted by spirits. I've seen even pictures online that marks would appear on a body. I'd be interested to know from people's experiences, like if it was a feeling of pain, if it was like being physically assaulted, because it doesn't really make sense to me. Like maybe it can physically change you. The podcast I recorded, I talked about a farmer that the Ed and Lorraine Warren dealt with in the past, and that a white cross appeared on his one cheek right here. That would be a physical change, but I don't think he was feeling it. It was more that it just appeared. But in this case, it sounds like that the woman was feeling it. Defining possession, he says, a possession happens, I assume this is Dr. Gallagher talking, a possession happens when an evil spirit controls that person, takes them over. Whereas with oppression, people use different terms for it. Some people use vexation. I like oppression better. That indicates an attack by an evil spirit on an individual, but the evil spirit can't or doesn't take over their personality. Kind of relates to what I was saying about possession, that it caused them, but no, it caused paralysis. So this is almost like in between the two. I don't know. These classifications seem strange to me. So possession gets rid of the person's energy completely and replaces it with whatever the, what's the term? Evil spirit does. But that oppression is just, I guess, piggybacking? The term piggybacking? I don't know. He further adds that the most common cause for either is that someone has turned evil or to the occult. Okay, there we go. So this is a pet peeve of mine. It's the idea that if somebody has gone evil, which we can question that word, good and evil. We can question somebody's motivations behind it, but if you are a very religious person, then you will believe completely in the idea of evil and that demons are evil and angels are good. So it sounds to me like this person, this Dr. Gallagher, is religious. That's what I would glean by reading between the lines here. So possession or oppression, as he says, is somebody turning to evil or the occult. I'm going to back off on this and say I don't agree with that. 100% don't agree with that. That in my experience, possession can happen to good people. I think this is a cop-out, and I think it is in a way to kind of further a damaging teaching. And I was raised religious, and I have complete and total respect for it. And even with my own family members, I see the good that it can do, but then I can also see the bad. And I think this is on the bad side. Just my opinion. Paradoxically, according to Dr. Gallagher, it's often when they try to get away from that the demonic world feels that they have a hold on the person, that the person might actually have even promised themselves to Satan or some kind of evil. And then they, in a sense, they're getting punished for trying to move out of that. That's the most common reason people get attacked. Now, this is a doctor. Did it say what type of doctor? Psychiatry, I should have known. This is a doctor, and he's saying something. I'm sorry, this is just way beyond the fold for me. I don't think a logically thinking person should say something like this. I'm sorry, it just seems strange. Somebody promised themselves to Satan or some kind of evil, and that's... No, sorry. I really got nothing more to say. I just disagree. As for his first encounter, he believes the woman was attacked because demons did not like the good work she was doing. Okay, so that's different. That's different than what was set up here. So this is a good woman being attacked by demons randomly because she's doing good. Again, I don't agree with that. I think people who do good end up getting good in life. I'm not going to get flaky here, but the idea of karma, you do good to others, you do good to living things, that the energy around you kind of supports that, and you end up getting good things. I'm sorry, I think that's the more peaceful and mindful way to look at things. Before that first case and his relationship with exorcists and the demonic world, Dr. Gallagher says he was unaware of the intricacies of possession and oppression. Dr. Gallagher says demons exhibit extraordinary powers such as personal knowledge and near clairvoyance. On one occasion, a demon told him how his mother had died, ovarian cancer, and that evil spirits also knew, quote, how 15 other people's parents died too. It wasn't just me. Let me finish that and I'll quote, I'll mention it. On another occasion, a demon told him exactly what a priest was wearing through the clergyman, even though the clergyman was nowhere near Dr. Gallagher and the possessed person speaking. In a different case, Gallagher was also personally addressed. Kind of an abrupt ending. Now, this doesn't say whether the clergyman, whether it was actually what the person was wearing, although I'm going to assume that was the case. So I want to kind of comment on this before ending the video. So Dr. Gallagher says they have extraordinary powers such as personal knowledge and near clairvoyance. Okay, so he heard that his mother died. Now, I'd be interested in knowing more about this. If this session was filmed, now this is just going to be me talking from a paranormal investigator's point of view, somebody who really puts a lot of value on the story, and through that can hopefully find out what the truth is behind it. So it says here that mother died of ovarian cancer. I don't know what his relationship was, the person that he was interacting with, if they were close to him, if they knew this information. So I would want to know that. I'd want to know how well the person knew them, and just seeing exactly how this interaction began and what occurred. Because, I mean, you can say from a point of view, and like a bird's eye point of view, that this is what occurred, and then you can come back with a very, very interesting point of view that supports your beliefs, especially when your beliefs are very extreme. So this is the one paragraph that kind of goes against my disbelief. And if this was 100% true, it would make me more a believer. But then the question is, how true is it? I'm not being skeptical because, I don't want to disprove it. This could very well be true. But from everything else I read in this, my final opinion is I am not a believer in this idea of possession, that it's so blatantly religious in the point that it brings up Satan, that they made a deal with Satan. I'm sorry, I don't get it. I don't subscribe to that at all. If you want to know exactly what I subscribe to when it comes to possession, please have a listen to the podcast that just got posted. Is real possession just like the movies tell you? And I go into much more detail, including my own personal experience that happened at the very haunted Custom House in Hamilton. So that's that. But thank you for watching, everyone, and I will talk to you soon.